Recipe Required, and tonight I'm going to do a soup recipe for you. This one, a cream of celery soup. Now, if you're like me, when you buy celery, they sell it in these huge packages, right? And I use like one stalk, maybe two stalks in another recipe, and I've got a whole bunch left over. Well, this is a great recipe to take the rest of that celery and really make it the focus, the main ingredient of a soup. It's kind of mild in flavor, but really interesting in complexity. I think it makes a great opener for like a fancy dinner. So go ahead, let's sit down, let's take a look. It takes about half an hour to make and just a couple minutes to show you how to do it. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so our cream of celery soup, really simple to do. I add kind of all the vegetables, or most of the vegetables, right up front. I've got about 1.5 cups of celery, a leek, and an onion, kind of half an onion, chopped up, a couple cloves of garlic, just loosely crushed, or kind of coarsely crushed. I'm going to salt it, and just let these simmer over medium heat until all the vegetables are wilted down. Size of the cuts don't really matter, because at the end of the day we're going to come back and kind of puree everything in here. So you don't have to be too neat or pretty. If you've got some celery leaves off of your celery, pull them off, reserve them. They make a nice garnish at the end. So after about 15-20 minutes, your vegetables are going to be wilted down. Actually, I forgot to hit it with pepper. We'll do a little fresh ground in there. I like to add a pinch of thyme. Ooh, I'll add a pinch of thyme, just a little bit there. And then I'm going to add a diced potato here, peeled. And potato is going to give the soup kind of a nice heartiness, richness. It's a great technique for a lot of vegetable soups like this. I do it all the time. And then I'm going to cover it all, maybe by like an inch, half an inch, maybe an inch to 2 inches, with chicken stock. You could use vegetable stock if you want to keep it all vegetarian. And then just let it cook covered on a simmer until the potatoes are tender. They'll probably be about 15 to 20 minutes or so. So after 15-20 minutes, kind of depends on the size of the potatoes you cut, you're either going to get nice and tender, and that's what you're looking for, because you want everything to really blend together. I'm using one of these stick blenders to put it all together. If you want to use a regular blender, absolutely you can. Frankly, if you want to leave it chunky, you could do that as well. I like these soups pureed down. Once we puree it nice and smooth, we'll come back, add a little bit of cream. Okay, so once it is pureed down, you want to pull it off. If it foams up a little bit, like mine is doing, don't worry about it. That'll all just kind of work back in there. It's just a little bit of air getting worked into the soup. And then I like to add maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 tablespoons of cream in there. Again, it's kind of up to you. And the important thing here, at the end of any kind of soup recipe, the end of any recipe, is you want to go ahead and give it a taste. And make sure the seasoning is right where you want it. That cream gives a nice silky texture along with the potato. This could use a touch more salt and actually a good amount of pepper. And then you're essentially done. If you want to get it a little thicker, you can just reduce it down, keep simmering it for longer. It will thicken up on you. Or if you want to thin it out, if it's too thin, just add a little more chicken stock or even a little more cream. We can go ahead and serve this up. So I've served my celery soup up in a little bit of a shallow bowl here. Like I said, I pulled out a few the celery leaves before I chopped the celery. Hold them off. You can throw them on there. Do a little bit of garnish. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.